Zharia, nice to see you.
Nice to see
Um,
you. Oh,
how you doing?
I'm good. It's starting to get
Oh,
cold, so I'm bracing myself for the winter.
it's finally starting to not get super hot here, so we're bracing ourselves for the beautiful weather of the fall in New Orleans.
That
But
was
Zharia Jeffries, I don't know if I'm supposed to formally introduce you, but Zharia Jeffries, the last time I saw you in person, you were on stage in the Superdome
yeah.
giving an amazing speech at our School of Liberal Arts graduation ceremony. That was my first as well. And to be able to be up there on the stage of the Superdome giving a speech, which we both did one after the other, must have been a pretty special experience. What do you remember about that day?
I remember I did not tell my family. I guess they were looking for me to come walking through like with the rest of the graduating class, and I was like last. So when they saw me going up with all of the deans and faculty, they were like yelling in my ear and stuff. So that's something I really remember, surprising them with that.
Wait, Zaria, you're telling me that your family did not know that you were going to give a speech in the Superdome on that day.
They did not know.
What did they say afterwards?
They were in tears. That was what I wanted to happen. I just wanted it to be a moment for us as a family. So I think that happened. My mom knew, but that was only because she came early on for graduation week. And there was a Black graduation going on. So I went to that and she came and they announced that I was a graduation speaker. So she was surprised that way. But she was just so thrilled anyway that
Yeah.
she got the surprise as well.
All right. So tell us, where did you grow up, and then where are you now?
I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm also from Columbia, South Carolina, but I just like to split the two. Um, Went to Woodward Academy, graduated, and then went to Tulane to major in English and communications. Now I'm at Syracuse University, majoring in a magazine, newspaper, and online journalism with a master's degree, and I'm finishing that up. And next, or currently, I am a intern for the Post Standard at Syracuse. It's their online newspaper.
Great. And did you know when you were an undergraduate here, so you graduated in 2019, that you wanted to have this journalism as part of your career?
I started off as an econ major,
Really?
and I used to call my mom crying, like, I can't, this isn't working. This isn't what I want to do. And finally, she was just like, maybe you should find something you like to do. So I settled into English, and then somehow I found communications when I started working for the NOLA Center for the Gulf South with Janice Frazier and Rebecca Snedeker. And they asked me to like do some work with them for the Tulane Hullabaloo, and I wasn't even interested in it. I was just gonna go and do my job, kind of advocate for the center, and I wound up writing for them. And when I wrote my first article, it was for Studio B, with I think his name is Brandon Odom, who's the owner of it and the main artist on it. He does amazing work around the city.
B.
And this
Mike Odom, yeah,
like
yeah, and
that was
B. Mike has
my
got a
first.
he's got a big exhibit right now in the Newcomb Art Gallery that we opened up in the spring, still there. That's amazing. So you found this, started writing. You wrote a really moving piece that we read that also kind of brought your name and your story to a much wider attention here locally. You want to talk about that at all?
Yeah. I also, while I was there, I was interning with Via Nola V, which is, I think, um,
Your piece in Via Nola V is exactly what I'm
yeah,
talking
it was
about. Yeah.
an online publication that was working with the Tulane Com department, and there was also some faculty that were head of the organization or publication. And so I wrote that after an incident happened near the boot area with one of my friends. And I kind of just wrote it because I just felt so unheard. Like, really, no one kind of cared about my side of the story. I just didn't want that to like go down as something that wasn't reprimanded. And so when I didn't get the justice I deserved, I just, writing was my outlet. So I wrote it. They encouraged me to keep editing it, and they finally put it out, and I got a lot of feedback from it. So
Yeah, the piece got a lot of attention, and you're a really good writer and a really good speaker, because then we heard you speak in front of thousands of people. So what do you, the theme of the series is carrying with you. What do you carry with you from your time as a Tulane undergraduate now, a couple of years later, or I guess a year and a half later?
um, It does feel like a couple of years, but
Feels like 100 years.
it does. What I would try to remember from what my time at Tulane is that it was a journey, and it wasn't like a sprint. It was definitely a marathon, and that I had to learn to open my mind and to realize that my perspective was not the only perspective, and sometimes in a lot of cases it wasn't the right perspective either. So when I kind of learned that, a lot of the things I came into school with, or like freshman year, you come in with all your morals that you think you have, and the one thing I kept was my religion and my relationship with God. And after that, I let everything else go and tried to like relearn, and things kind of worked out for me that way.
I think that's so. What when you think about that, your time at Tulane as a journey, and you've journeyed from one major to another, and to a double major, and then through the writing that you were doing to finding journalism. Um, you look back on that time. So you're here, you get here in 2015. You got here in the fall of 2015, if I'm getting right, if I'm doing my math right. You're here during the last presidential campaign, and here we are in the middle of another one. Obviously, very dramatically different time in some ways now, both politically in terms of COVID, most obviously. What kind of I don't want to make you give messages to students that are here now, but like, and I know you've got some friends who are here now, but what are you kind of looking back? What kind of advice or comments do you give for students who are here now about the journey?
Stay grounded. Find something that keeps you. Find your circle that keeps you. I am the first person to tell you I was a group effort. I didn't make it to that graduation stage by myself. I had plenty of groups helping me, whether it was family, people in the Office of Multicultural Affairs, my friends. I kept a select group of people around me that I knew were either going to uplift me, advise me correctly, or like with my best interest at heart. And I kind of just tried to chuck everything else negative off my shoulders, as hard as that was.
Yeah,
I tried
yeah.
to do it.
What inspires you now? You're moving. You're in Syracuse. You're doing a graduate work in journalism. What inspires you when you, especially in these challenging times? I guess it
Um,
can be who or what. um,
I will say, as soon as I left, um, Deja Wells and that group of girls that did a lot, I don't remember what it was called, and I'm so upset, but they did some amazing work with the administration down there after I left. And I just felt like, wow, they really inspired me to keep doing what I'm doing, especially seeing that the group after me was able to do so much
yeah,
more.
yeah, that's amazing. Deja Wells, who is a current current undergrad student. What's that?
Abby Mumbai as well. It was a slew of Black women that
Yeah.
really turned up when I left, and I appreciated that.
It's great to hear a recent graduate say that other current students or students they graduate with inspire them. Because of course, faculty, deans, we're so inspired by you all, by students. And it's, you'll hear this joke about college professors that we stay the same age, but the students keep getting younger. It's so, now I'm in my third year here at Tulane, third year as Dean of the School of Liberal Arts. And seeing you again, it's like, wow, people, there's these generations of students and this inspiration of the energy, the ideas, the talent, and then to watch you all go forward with your careers is, you'll hear from lots of professors and deans and administrators. That's so inspiring to us. And Deja and Abby, of course, but Deja, who's currently a student, we just did an interview together for our School of Liberal Arts magazine, the next issue and it was her theme and her questions on social responsibility. And when, I got to see the questions before, and then we had this question, I was like, questions and the conversation, she is really inspiring, and just the kind of intense engagement, energy, forward thinkingness is just really one of those many times when you're at a place like Tulane and you're just feel so lucky to be a part of the community.
Yeah, I get a real sense of determination from Deja and from that whole group. Like, it really inspired me to keep moving forward and be as determined as I was at Tulane here, because I definitely did not have a break. I had maybe about 2 weeks before I started my master's program. So there was no break in between. But when I was looking back and reading all the things that were happening at Tulane with Deja and them, I was like, okay, I can do more.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also, while I was there was a discussion with Issa Rae at Dillard, and she
Mhm.
was saying network horizontally. You don't need to go up,
Yeah.
or, to the highest people on the totem pole to be able to create something great. And I took that with me, and that's why I find Deja and the rest of the Black Student Union really inspiring.
That is great advice. Is great advice. And one of the um, joys, benefits, enabling aspects of being at a place like Tulane is if you do that kind of horizontal networking or friend groups or just like trusting and taking seriously your peers, it is absolutely the case that that these folks will be really important to you going forward, personally, professionally. And I get to see it, when I meet alumni who are 10, 20, 30, 40
Yeah.
years out of college, and they'll tell you these stories. You see them sometimes coming together, whether it's for homecoming. And I guess we're doing this conversation as part of a homecoming series of events. And it's really remarkable how those kinds of networks that people made when they were, 19, 20, 21 years old will stick with people and be really empowering and enabling. So it's amazing that I'm so happy that you've figured that out so young. We don't all figure that out so young as far as that goes. So what would you say? I mean, we're talking about this. I mean, these are obviously in the year since you left. You graduated 2019. It's been a very challenging 6 months here at Tulane, Syracuse, where you're a graduate student in the United States and the world. What keeps you going? How do you see, whether it's optimistically or pessimistically or realistically, like what keeps you going as far as that goes?
I think the only thing that we can really stand on, especially right now with so much negativity happening in 2020, is the fact that there's nowhere to go but up.
Mm,
So I've been staying with the same group of people that are uplifting. We've continued to connect after college. Um, I guess I just keep running my race.
yeah. And what do you think, if you're talking back to the students here? I mean, who are currently here, what advice would you give them in addition to that kind of horizontal networking in terms of their studies or what to make of the Tulane experience?
I like to say that if you went to college and came out the same person you were when you entered, you didn't do it right.
Mhm.
I try as much as possible to kind of morph myself into somebody I could be proud of and emulate as far as my thinking process and like my character.
Mhm.
So as much as college is about developing your professional skills, it's just as good for developing your character and who you want to be as a citizen.
That's right. Well, Zaria, we know if we go back to the speech you gave in front of those thousands of people in the Superdome, or the work that you're doing now and keeping up with you with your work in journalism and whatever's next, are just a great example of someone who's brought both the personal commitments, the moral commitments to the work that that you are doing, that you're setting yourself up to do in the future. And we're so incredibly proud that you are a graduate of Tulane, and I'm doubly proud that you're a graduate of School of Liberal Arts with double major in English communication. I'm so excited to watch your career, and I'm so happy that we had the opportunity to reconnect here through Zoom. That's one of the good sides of this pandemic, is that we're actually reconnecting with people that are far away from us.
Maybe
Um,
I can get back to homecoming one year.
well, we very much look forward to that, and these homecomings that are. This one will be one for the record books, but again, hopefully, the fact that we're not gathering in person and having these kinds of virtual things will remind more people that when we're coming back in person to come back home, and always stop by the School Liberal Arts tent. We have we love our swag. Right now we've got, I should be holding in my hand. We've got our School of Liberal Arts face mask. We'll send you one.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
reconnecting people from across the generations. So yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Sorry, thank you for taking time out of your day. We'll send you a little bit of New Orleans warm weather as it's starting to get chilly in Syracuse.
Graciously, please.
Well, take good care of yourself. It's just a joy to see you, and really, again, so much pride for what you're doing and that you're part of the Tulane family. Look forward to welcoming you back home here next time you can travel to New Orleans.
Yeah, definitely.
And keep on doing the great work you're doing.
All right. Thanks for having me.